Do you ever wonder where we go after this? Are you high right now? Do you ever get nervous?
End of the trading week. Welcome to Modern Investing Techniques, episode 102 for July 10th, 2026. I'm Patrick, coming to you from Vancouver. Last trading day of the week. Let's review the week and set up for next Monday. Quick reminder, everything we discuss here is for education and entertainment. The practice investment of the day uses simulated trades with no real money. I'm not a licensed financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. Always do your own research before putting real money to work. Delta's record revenue, despite record fuel costs, gives Canadian investors a concrete screen for transport names resilient to commodity spikes. The S&P 500 closed at 7,544, up 0.8%. The NASDAQ Composite closed at 26,207, up 1.3%. The TSX Composite closed at 35,200, also up 0.8%. World shares advanced on technology buying while oil slipped amid Iran developments. Delta reported record revenue and a profit beat even after absorbing its highest ever quarterly fuel expense. Statistics Canada releases June jobs data this morning following May's surprise gain. Are we beating the NASDAQ this week? Our matched window alpha stands at plus 7.0% across 36 benchmarked trades. Earnings volatility creates opportunities when investors separate reported beats from the quality of the underlying margin resilience. Today's Delta release shows how fuel cost absorption can still produce an EPS beat when revenue growth outpaces the expense spike. Screen for carriers or transport operators where year-over-year revenue growth exceeds 8% and fuel hedge disclosure appears in the MD&A. Use the company's 10Q or earnings transcript to quantify the hedge ratio before entry. This approach worked best in 2022 and 2023 when oil swung 30% or more intra-year and only hedged operators preserved margins. The risk is sudden policy shifts that invalidate hedges, so limit position size to 3% of TFSA capital. This setup demonstrates how to quantify whether an earnings beat reflects durable margin management rather than one-time items. Listeners learn to read the MD&A fuel hedge footnote before committing capital. We put that exact screen to work in today's practice investment. This is a simulated trade for educational purposes only. No real money is involved. This is not financial advice. Today's pick is DAL, Delta Airlines, on the NYSE in the industrial sector. The strategy is an earnings surprise entry on record revenue and margin resilience despite peak fuel costs. The hold period runs Monday through Friday. The catalyst is the Q2 revenue record and EPS beat even after the highest quarterly fuel expense in company history. The technical setup shows price action above the 50-day moving average on the daily chart. Watch for volume confirmation above the 20-day average on a follow-through day. Risk assessment notes that a sudden oil spike or consumer spending slowdown could pressure margins, so set a stop loss at 6% below entry. The target is plus 3% to plus 6% over the weekly window if fuel hedge commentary supports the beat. Confidence level is medium because the earnings beat and revenue strength align, but sector-wide fuel cost sensitivity adds one uncertainty. This is the exact scenario where our earlier rule about volume confirmation would have helped on prior momentum entries. Before we review yesterday's result, here is the performance snapshot. Last weekly hold was cost on analyst unreassuring momentum after strong same-store sales data. Entry came at $934.94 on Thursday open. Exit came at $912.97 on Thursday close. The result was a loss of 2.35% or $23.50 on a $1,000 position. The trade lost 2.35% while the NASDAQ rose 1.3% over the same one-day window, for negative alpha of 3.65%. The analyst reiteration signal failed to produce follow-through once broader market rotation into defensives took hold. The new rule requires both a fundamental catalyst and a volume spike above the 20-day average before committing capital to momentum trades on analyst reiterations. That discipline pairs well with how we think about non-traditional assets. Benzinga Pro Stock Screener filters earnings beats by revenue growth and fuel expense disclosure in one view. Canadian investors running TFSA screens can isolate NYSE transport names with positive EPS surprises and hedge footnotes before the open. Access runs via the Pro tier at $99 per month or the free limited version for basic beat lists. If today's margin resilience screen interests you, this tool is exactly how you would isolate the names before the open. Wealthsimple Trade Earnings Calendar highlights Canadian and U.S. earnings with one-click TFSA eligible toggles. Users can set alerts for revenue growth thresholds above 8% and immediately place limit orders inside registered accounts. The service is free for all Wealthsimple clients. To act on any of these names, listeners can use the tools we highlight next. Circle wins final regulatory approval to establish a U.S. trust bank, with shares rising. Stablecoin issuer Circle cleared the last hurdle for the charter, tightening regulatory oversight while unlocking potential banking partner revenue. Add Coin and MSTR to the watch list for any correlated volume spike above the 20-day average. China temporarily bans helium exports as U.S.-Iran tensions flare again. The export restriction on a critical industrial gas adds supply risk to semiconductor and medical imaging supply chains. Trim any direct helium-exposed commodity ETF holdings until export policy clarifies. The UK will regulate cloud service providers including Microsoft and Google to protect financial stability. New oversight on cloud concentration raises compliance costs for hyperscalers serving European financial clients. Avoid adding fresh MSFT or GOEGL exposure this week until regulatory cost impact is quantified. Our simulated portfolio has completed 41 trades with a win rate of 56%, or 23 wins, 17 losses, and 1 break-even. Cumulative profit and loss stands at $280.97. Matched window alpha versus the NASDAQ across 36 benchmark trades is plus 7.0%. Average return per trade is 0.69%. Best trade reached plus 20.11%, and worst trade reached minus 11.80%. Current streak is 1 loss. Our AI analysis is learning from the momentum entry pattern and adjusting screens accordingly. Now, here is something that most retail investors get wrong, and it cost me money before I figured it out. Imagine you added 3% Bitcoin exposure via the Canadian-listed BTCX ETF to your TFSA last quarter, when the S&P 500 dipped 4%. Your order filled at the market open, but the actual mechanics between click and fill included a 0.8% premium to spot, plus the ETF's 0.45% management fee that compounds daily. Bitcoin's 0.15 correlation to the TSX Composite over the past 12 months improves the efficient frontier at 1 to 3% allocation. Yet that correlation spiked above 0.6 during the March banking stress window, erasing the diversification benefit exactly when it was needed. Professionals always cross-check the ETF's premium or discount to NAV on the exchange before buying and set a hard 5% portfolio cap so volatility cannot overwhelm the rest of the book. The biggest mistake with crypto allocation is treating the 1 to 5% band as a starting point rather than a ceiling. Instead, size the position so a 50% drawdown in the crypto sleeve produces no more than a 2.5% portfolio loss. Before we wrap, open your brokerage platform this weekend. Pull up DAL's most recent 10Q, locate the fuel hedge footnote, and note the percentage of next quarter consumption already hedged. That's your modern investing techniques for today. Every episode makes you a sharper investor. Subscribe, leave a review, and we'll be back tomorrow with more market intelligence. And if you'd rather watch than listen, find us on YouTube at Nara Network. Links in the show notes. And before you go, This show is part of the NARA Network, a family of daily podcasts on tech, science, and markets, each one a short, sharp briefing you can finish on the commute. If today earned its place in your feed, here's your next listen. First Principles Daily, reasoning from raw materials, not analogy, on the breakthroughs that actually cut cost. Find every show free at naranetwork.com. Live dashboards, TSLA, SpaceX launches, the investing scoreboard are all at naranetwork.com/data. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.
Do you ever wonder where we go after this? Are you high right now? Do you ever get nervous? Do you ever stay awake, counting sheep like all the time? What's your life like? What's your purpose? When's your birthday? What's your sign? Are you down right now? Are you stuck up in the past? Are you still thinking about all